Hey yo, we had the peak of fiction, and we just saw an incredible ending to the Bayern Munich versus Uber's match, where Isagi took his place as the protagonist of the game, hitting a super goal golazo to win the game, defeating his first rival Baru, and winning his bet against his newest rival, Kaiser, leaving both devastated and looking for answers to how to compete against this new monster, Isagi. After the match, we went right into PXG's Satoshi Rin awakening to his hat trick golazo, winning the match against PXG and Manshine and making Nagi and Reo grasp for straws as they try to figure out what is the proper ego to compete against these players who are evolving at a rate they cannot compete with. We get the top 30 auction off, getting some new additions to the auction, seeing some of our original players finally get auctioned off, with Raichi and Hiyori getting into their match. In celebration with these new auctions, I wanted to talk about my Blue Lock NEL player peak. Right now I'm going to tier off the top 20 players that I think deserve, who I see climbing the mountain to peak player status. We were thinking of making this for strikers, but I wanted to change it up to give more people an opportunity, because Blue Lock isn't just a strikers league anymore. We're in real football. We're in the world. So let's take a look at my player peak. Starting at the bottom, we're going to go with a regulation warning. These players are Karamatsu, Corona, Rachi, Tokumitsu, and Zenitsu. We have had these players from the beginning. Some new ones in Corona. But we haven't heard much about these players. We haven't heard any of them score any goals. And I'm thinking in the next match, they might become obsolete if they don't show out. Especially Tokumitsu and Zenitsu. They're going to need to start to compete with Rin. Karusu is going to have to step up if they're going to stay in this top 23. They are very close to being regulated out of the Blue Lock 20. So they better step up. Now, I don't want to just tell y'all my rankings and everything's just cool. I want you guys to take a look at these rankings and tell me what you think of these rankings. Who should be at the top of the Blue Lock NEL player peak? Am I missing something? Is there any players that I left off this list? Next tier is the talent wasted tier. These players have not been showing their talents fully throughout the Blue Lock series, especially in the NEL. We know Shido can score monster goals, but he needs to get over his ego. We know Hiyori has some beautiful Itoshi side passes that he's starting to display. He needs to keep that ego and keep going. But we have players like Nico, who's the youngest, and he needs to start scoring like he did in stage 1. The way the Ubers are going to evolve is not relying on Baro. We started to see that. We need someone like Nico with Metavision to take over the pitch. Gin, he's really been showing out as a goalkeeper. But I think with Japan already having one of the best defenses, Gin is going to have to step up even more as a goalkeeper to make sure these world strikers do not get past him at the U20. And taking a look at Yukimiya, honestly, I don't like him. I just don't like him. He's too light-skinned for me. Moving on. Next tier is Awaken My Love. These 4 players need to show something. They need to have a second awakening. Oliver Aiku finally gets Metavision. He was a backfield member that always helped the Japan team and was a leader, and now he's finally being able to see the pitch. We're going to need more. We're going to need that defense to step up, and we're going to need you to become more physical to score a goal. Nagi, Reo, we already know what it is. You guys need to stop relying on each other and step up. Nagi especially. He is a talent that should be at the top of Blue Lock, and he's not doing it. These both need to have some awakening. Their skills are top notch, and they're not showing it off. Awaken, my loves. Kunigami, I'm happy he's back into the Blue Lock series. However, he's been getting owned by the Isagi. He could only just block a shot from Baru in the last match. We need him to step up. He's about to go against his rival Shido, who sent him home. Do not let it happen again. You're going to have to awaken to something new, something that sets you apart and gets you on that Blue Lock top 23. This is your time, Kunigami. It's time to awaken. Next tier. We got the tier. I messed up. This tier is King of the Jungles. This tier is Barubachi and Shigiri. Shigiri taking a step up to reach into the top 6, showing off his Panther Snipe being the only person to score in that Manshine PHG, having some consistency, being able to score in 2 matches in a row. We're starting to see him dominate, and we know with his speed he can hold the back line, so I'm stepping him up. Bachira, we know he's been evolving his monster. He scored 2 goals in the NeoEgo League to be at one of the top goal scorers. He's one of the top goal scorers for his Spanish team that he's on right now. And we know he has some deadly passes. He has been stepping up to become one of the premier midfielder striker combinations. So I'm loving it. I'm putting him in my top 5 because we know his skills can lead to winning. Now, one of the most controversial, you're like, how is Baru not in the top 3? Because that's going to be a surprise for you guys. Baru has shown he has evolved almost as much as, more than most players, competing with Isagi. He's now showing playing with other teammates. He now is showing he is leading his teammates. He has evolved his goal-scoring predator to get a predator eye to see goals no matter what. His hunger is even more than before, and he's not just the failed king. He is a king. Baru has been showing he is a king in these last matches, but I would like him to show some real leadership in the next matches. Next tier is actually For All the Dawgs tier, because these boys are stepping up to the top. I know you guys are surprised that we got my boy Kaiser up here, and you may be surprised that he's fallen behind Isagi as the 3rd best striker. Reason why is because Isagi's leadership, his ability to adapt, allows his other players to devour him while not allowing himself to get taken in matches. He always makes an impact. He is now scoring multiple goals in a match, which we have not seen. He's becoming a true egoist striker, and I have to reward him this week with a ranking over Kaiser because he beat Kaiser in the bet. He's showing that he may beat him again, and he's making Kaiser take a step back and reevaluate where he's at right now. Kaiser's impact is amazing. We're going to get a backstory to him and Ness, but I'm putting him behind Isagi for right now because in actual impact of the matches so far, although he's scoring more, Isagi is the one who's leading the team to scoring. Isagi is the one that's getting the team behind him to follow his lead. Isagi's for all the dogs. He's got all these people just wanting to be a part of his team. He has brought someone back, just like Baru, from wanting to retire in Hiyori. Now we have two midfielders in Bachira and Hiyori that can send gorgeous passes to any striker. And that's because the egoist Isagi is allowing them to devour him and for him to evolve. The number 1 is my favorite player, Rin Itoshi. He is the peak of the Blue Lock player. Itoshi Rin is the top goal scorer with Kaiser. Itoshi Rin has scored in every match so far, I believe. Itoshi Rin has the best skills in Blue Lock. Itoshi Rin also has a Metavision that we've seen since Blue Locks when we first saw Rin. His skills allow him to be the best striker. His leadership gets others to follow behind how great he is. Now, I don't know if he competes with Isagi in terms of leadership, but we do know Isagi devours Rin while Rin devours Isagi, making both of them better and allowing both of them to play together, unlike some ace strikers like Baru and Shido. So I have to give Rin that top spot because in terms of skill, he has everything Isagi has and more. In terms of being able to compete with Kaiser, he has everything other than that Kaiser impact that makes Kaiser himself. But Rin has that beautiful destruction. He has that mind that competes with someone like Kaiser. He has the hunger to score goals like a Shido. And he has the individual skills to be a king like Baru. That's why I got my boy, Rin Itoshi, at the top of my Blue Lock NEL player peak. Now, I don't want to just tell y'all my rankings and everything's just cool. I want you guys to take a look at these rankings and tell me what you think of these rankings and who should be at the top of the Blue Lock NEL player peak. Am I missing something? Is there any players that I left off this list that I should lose my soccer license because I left off? Any other skills that you think should be higher than Rin Itoshi? Let us know in the comments because I'm starting to give you this Blue Lock content. We're going to start releasing some JJ content and we're getting back into One Piece. So if you I've been looking for some friends to really talk about anime because all I got is this room and this mic. So if you need somebody to talk about anime with, you have some other animes you would like me to discuss, or you want to talk about Rick and Morty, maybe some Invincible. This is a Peak of Fiction. We can talk about some Peak Fiction. Hit me up. We locked in.
No.